You're listening to Tripod, the Tricycle Creative podcast, created to help entrepreneurs be better marketers. Each episode features news, tips, interviews, and commentary from the worlds of marketing, media, and, well, miscellaneous. Now, here are your co-hosts, Ross Erosion and Chris Slezak.
It is Tripod. It is episode 7, and I am Ross. Welcome, and joining me, as always, the Silver Surfer to my Galactus, Chris Slezak.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. What's up with you?
Not too much.
Oh, we're doing a show, so get it together. All right.
Yeah, glad to be back.
Me too. Me too. I'm sick in the head in that I enjoy work. And so when I go on vacation too long, sometimes I get a little angsty. And I was gone for a while, and I was ready to get back.
Well, I was glad to have you back because I've been sitting in this computer chair the entire time waiting.
I did want you to be ready in case anything happened while I was away. Anything worth podcasting. Turns out nothing, but I wanted you to be ready just in case.
I almost lost my job over it.
Okay.
Thankfully, I had enough vacation time that I could
commitment.
cover your vacation while I waited on you to get back.
That's good. That is good. You're committed, and I appreciate that. Yeah. Now, in the meantime, while I was gone, I did do and released a special episode, Keep Pedaling, an interview with Brian Beam. Hope you enjoyed it. Did you listen to that by chance?
I wasn't on it, so I did not listen. Is that
great?
Rude?
If you're nothing else, you are honest. Yes, it is rude, to be fair. It is rude, but it's okay. I appreciate your honesty. So on the one hand, you'll get a point. You get 1 point for honesty, but minus 2 points for rudeness. So, Hufflepuff House is down. Yeah.
You know
what?
I don't want to think that I would be Hufflepuff, but I know I would. In my heart of hearts, I know I would be.
Listen, Hufflepuffs are lovable scamps. And if you're anything again, you are a lovable scamp. And I think that's fine. That's fine. I'm Slytherin house, so it works out just okay. Yeah. I don't know. I've never done the BuzzFeed quiz that I remember.
Yeah.
Did you do it? I don't remember.
It sounds like maybe you and I need to go and get sorted.
Do people do BuzzFeed quizzes now? I mean, as a digital marketer, is that something I should know? I feel like people have really turned on BuzzFeed, actually.
Oh, yeah. I haven't visited in many years now.
I go on Reddit, and they hate BuzzFeed.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's what it is. I graduated to Reddit, maybe.
Yeah. Like Reddit has like BuzzFeed heads on sticks throughout the whole community. It just like,
well, because essentially BuzzFeed's just watered down Reddit, right? I mean, it's just filtered, stolen material.
It's
from Reddit.
Very like Apocalypse Now going through Reddit sometimes. You're just
the meme crisis of 2019.
Just going through. You're seeing old memes on stakes, fires burning in the distance. Not really sure what's going on.
Skeletons of SpongeBob.
I love it though. You know, it's a lovely, lovely wasteland. So in addition to going on vacation, I went to Scandinavia. Chris asked me, and then I told you I'm never really sure how long I should go on telling people about my vacation. And I can't see Chris right now, so I don't know when he's going to give me the I'm bored like body language. So I'm just going to say it was fine. Actually, better than fine. It was lovely, but exhausting. And also, while I was away, I went to the movies by myself, not on vacation. I went to the movies by myself for the first time, maybe ever.
Really?
Yeah, I went to go see Avengers for the second time by myself.
I also saw Avengers by myself when I saw it.
You did?
I did.
Do that normally? It's kind of weird.
No, I don't normally. But the wife was out of town, and when the wife's away, the cat will watch Avengers.
Although I didn't invite you to the Schitt's Creek thing, so you're probably still mad at me about that. But here's the thing, right? Let's just talk about the best thing about marriage. The best thing about marriage is what I call split skis. And that is when you're torn between two things that you want to eat, and you talk your wife into getting the other one, and then you eat half of that also.
Mm-hmm.
That's really great in the movies, because I'm always torn between salty sweet, right? Or if Alamo Drafthouse, for those of you that have those, they got a lot of great options. And if you go as one person, you have half the table, and you're sharing it with a stranger. And if I got 3 items, I'm just the pig that she's sitting beside. I'm the alone pig at the movie theater, just eating 3 main courses while watching a 4-hour movie with superheroes.
Yeah.
I very prominently kept showing my wedding ring, though. Look.
you just stood up mid.
Hello.
Everyone thought you were going to snap.
They raised their order card on me. Well, today's a special episode because we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about I've done this. I'll call it a course. Maybe it's a workshop. This thing that we're going to talk about today, I've done this a couple times recently at some speaking engagements, at some lunch and learns, some networking events. And what I'm going to do is talk and walk through what I call the digital marketing roadmap. So what is that? Well, it's kind of the order of operations of digital marketing, right? So if you're not sure where to start with your digital marketing, follow this guide that we're going to talk about today, and it's really helpful to do them in this order. It's kind of like, do you remember the order of operations, Chris? Math?
Let's see.
I think that was my mother told me. No, that's not right. My Aunt Susie, I don't remember. Parentheses are first, though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Squares are involved.
I'm glad I didn't use
exponents.
The actual math metaphor for this. I used something much simpler. But we're going to go through and we're going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, Chris will ask very intelligent questions, as always.
Mm-hmm.
That was
to do.
Unconvincing. And we're going to help you understand in what order, what things you should be doing with your digital marketing. So, Chris, are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, right. I wasn't sure if we're going to have to record a different time. It didn't sound like, today's not so good for me. Okay. So, good. Great. On we go. So, the first thing you're going to want to do when we are talking about this digital marketing roadmap, we're talking about a couple different things. So I'm gonna give you a couple of subjects. And actually, Chris, I don't know if you have a handy dandy notebook there near you.
Procure one.
You could procure one. That'd be great. The listeners at home, you don't need to do this, but so here are the things we're going to talk about today. Social media, website, branding and logo, search engine optimization, digital advertising and remarketing, and digital content. So that could be photo, video, graphics. So 1, 2, 3, that's 6 items. Those are the biggies. I feel like those are kind of the large categories of digital marketing. Okay. So we're going to talk about in what order you should do those things. The order I just gave them is not the correct order. Spoiler alert. Oh, God.
Shouldn't have written in pen.
So here is the number one first thing you're going to want to start with when it comes to your digital marketing plan. The first thing you're going to want to do is branding. Now, so often, companies just don't do this. Okay, now branding is not your logo. let's just get that very clear. Branding is not your logo. Your logo is part of your overall branding. So your branding is essentially talking about who you are as a company, your voice, your ethics. We recently went through this exercise with Tricycle Creative, and we put together, kicked around this idea of these immutable laws. What are the things that we believe as an organization, and what are the things that we want our clients to know that we believe as an organization, and how we work and how we operate. It's also the visual components. So it's logo and colors. It's also talking about who are your current / prospective customers, right? So who are they? Who are they currently? Who maybe do you want them to be? Maybe you're looking to expand and into a different market and area. What do they want? What problems are they having? How are you helping? Are they Slytherin? You should have them probably do that. I mean, compatibility with your clients is important. I think, if you are getting into business for yourself, starting your own business, I'm just a firm believer that if you're not doing it to play by your own rules, then why even fucking do it? There's some people that I don't want to work with. I'll do a consultation call and I'll, candidly, just like, nah, maybe not a good fit. Maybe not a good fit. That's okay. How are you helping them? How are you reaching them? Now, Chris, you might remember Chris was in the room, maybe even the godfather, the midwife of Tricycle Creative.
A doula.
Yes. And we, very early on, I mean, even before I even knew what this company looked like, we were talking about these things, like what I came to the table with what I was thinking, and this also has evolved. This will evolve. It definitely evolves in your first 2 years. But this is very much like your compass. Your branding is your compass, right? I mean, it really helps to navigate. It acts as this base layer, right? It's the tortilla chips of the nachos. It acts as the base layer, the bottom of the pyramid. It acts as the thing that helps you with everything else. And so many companies just don't do this. Some people don't do this, right? So first stop is branding. Understanding who you are, understanding who your customers are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good start, right? So the next step is going to be your website. You have started with your brand. You have figured out who you are. You have figured out what you want to look like. You've figured out how you want to talk. You have figured out who your customers are. You want to create a website. Now, a lot of people are saying, how important is a website nowadays? Nowadays, these kids on the internet and their social medias, website is still critically important. It is one of the few things that you actually own, right? We've talked about this before. You do not own Facebook unless you're Mark Zuckerberg listening to this podcast. And if you are, we have said some very mean things about you. Ugh, awkward. But thank you for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. You own the content that is put up on your website. Social media, you're just playing in their playground, right? So what does your site look like? What message are you sending? What's important to you? What's important that your customers should know? The other thing a lot of people forget or don't do the diligence on, I suppose, is what the hell do you want your visitors to do? It can be really overwhelming. You go to a website and there's like 20 calls to action, right? I mean,
but also it needs to be more than just a digital business card.
That's true. Right. And I think it's figuring out, like, sometimes it's just about thinking about the page and what makes sense on that page. Like, do you want them to contact you? Do you want to direct contact? Do you want to schedule a consultation? Do you want them to maybe look at your product catalog? From the home page, that may make sense. Go to your product catalog. Do that. Do you want them to download something? Maybe on some pages, it's about downloading some PDF that you made. It's about signing up for your mailing list, right, is trying to figure out what behavior, what thing do you want your visitors to do? And sometimes it's not always just sell, 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 sell. And I think this is easier than ever now. People who say, there's so many like website builders now that there's almost no reason why you shouldn't have a website.
Right. Drag a couple photos.
Drag some photos.
Answer questions.
Answer some questions. I mean, and a lot of these site builders, they have just beautiful templates. You don't even necessarily have to be a designer. That's not to say that having a designer doesn't help. Having a developer in some cases doesn't help. But you can graduate to that. It's like you can work up to that. You don't need to, come out of the DMV getting your license for the first time and drive a Lamborghini. I mean, I know Chris did, but not all of us are you.
My website is just a picture of a Lamborghini.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
That's it.
It's electric yellow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because
I also have my name and contact info on there, but it's also in yellow, and it just blends in. It's really no good. The importance of having good design.
Because if you get a Lamborghini, it must be in yellow. Just makes sense.
Oh, to be clear, it's not my Lamborghini. It's just...
Oh, it's one you just saw.
Yeah, there's a watermark on the picture. It's not even...
Fantastic. Got it. It's from Getty Images. Got it. Noted.
It's from cooldesktops.com.
This is your resume website, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I haven't gotten
it. See this. You haven't updated it in a while. It is quite interesting, especially because it links out to your MySpace page, which
has lost all its data.
Somewhat telling, and you haven't updated your live journal in like forever. I don't know what you're doing.
My Zanga, on the other hand.
That's updated almost too much. I got to be honest with you, it's almost updated too much. Okay. So your second stop on this roadmap, website. This is your home base. This is like your cabin. If we're going with the metaphor of the roadmap and hiking, it's your branding's your compass. This is your cabin. This is your home base. It's you control it. You own the lot. You got to pay some property taxes on it here and there, but nonetheless, you own the lot. Okay. Now, third stop. The third stop, now that you have your website up, you have determined your branding, is search engine optimization. Now, this is about getting found. So this is kind of, okay, you've built your house. Well, now along the trail, you want to put up a signpost with an arrow to your house, your name, Gus's house. I don't know. That's not my name. But nonetheless, right? So this is about getting found by your customers, your prospective customers. This is about letting Google know where to find you, right? I think a lot of people think Google just automatically knows. Google knows a lot of things, and eventually Google will get around to finding you. But SEO is kind of is that process of being proactive about letting Google know where you're at and what your website is all about.
This is like telling somebody, hey, if you need me for anything, I'm going to be over here.
Totally. Absolutely. And also telling Google and saying, hey, Google, if you hear about anyone that's looking for what I do, can you just point them over here? Let them know, right? So, let them know I'm over here. That's what search engine optimization is.
And I think this one is important for people who maybe don't know a lot about marketing. I mean, this is more of a, under the hood type of thing and probably gets overlooked a lot.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing about search engine optimization and what's been happening with it this year particularly, there is a lot to search engine optimization. I'm not going to lie. It's probably one of the more complex services that we offer, and definitely one of the more complex marketing services that's out there. And it is ongoing, and it is ever changing. But the beauty for the small business owner if they don't know anything, just know this. Write on your website, write for people. Don't write for robots. Write as if you're talking to a person, because, like it or not, Google's has become much smarter, and their algorithms and everything has become much smarter. They released a new big update. I believe it's called Rank Brain, and it now understands, because it's tied to AI, understands and can figure out things contextually much better. Used to be you just put this keyword in a whole bunch, and there are a lot of other factors, but let's just dumb it down here. Google's, oh, I see that you have a lot of keywords about bass fishing. Wow, where's my head? Okay, you have a lot of things about bass fishing on your website. Well, you have the word bass fishing a lot. All right, that's good enough. You're bass fishing, right? That's not the case anymore. It's smarter than that. It's a lot more than that. It's about talking about bass fishing and lures and favorite boats. And I don't know anything about bass fishing, so I'm really running out of things to say. Your favorite types of bass.
Is Gus running this bass
I don't
fishing
know
show?
what I think I might have been possessed by a spirit. So, and he loves bass fishing, but not really that much. Okay, so
Is it smart enough to know the difference between bass fishing and bass fishing?
oof, good question.
What if you're into bass
Well,
guitars?
Yes, contextually, it would be able to, because if you were using terms like guitar and what are other guitar words?
String. Wait, that's also fishing.
Ugh, come on, Chris. You're in
Uh,
a band. I brought you here for one reason. Okay, you're talking about things in a band. You're talking about drums. Maybe you drum in a bass. Talk about band things versus fishing things, right? So now it contextually can understand these things. So again, you want to write for people. And that's SEO at its simplest, honestly. There's a lot to it. But if just starting out, just don't make that mistake of writing for robots. Now, Chris, do you have any idea how to take a little divergent down a dark path here? Do you have any idea how search engines work?
no.
Okay.
I actually don't know much about this at all.
Okay. Well, first off, it's wizardry. But second off, let me explain the wizardry. Okay. So you have the World Wide Web, a network that is made up of websites. Now, what Google does, and yes, I guess by extension, Bing and Yahoo, but come on. What Google does is they have spiders, and they go out and they crawl said World Wide Web. And they go out and they find your website, and they go through your website collecting information. And they collect that information by way of code. So how you tag, how a spider, Google spider crawler sees your website is not how we see a website. They see it in code. So when you remove that visual layer and they see things that are labeled in code certain ways, it takes that information and it goes back to Google and it says, hey, I went to Tricycle Creative's website and I found, in their headings, they talk a lot about digital marketing and consulting and social media. And in their paragraphs, they talk a lot about digital marketing, social media. And in their meta tags, they talk about consulting and small business. And in their images from what the descriptions they've given are about successful client work and blah, 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 blah. And they take all this information back to Google. And then what Google does is it creates a index of that page. So it says, okay, thanks, Spider. I'm going to put all this information away. And now if someone goes to my handy dandy web searcher, google.com, and searches for these things, I now have this bank of information that if someone's looking for digital marketing, right, for a small business or something, hey, you know what? I remember hearing about this this website and this company, this thing over here. Let me serve this up to them. It might be something they're interested in. And SEO is that process of continually giving Google more relevant information. This is the content side of SEO. There's a technical side. I'm not going to get into that too much. That's about site speed and how long you've had the site. And there's just literally hundreds of factors. But this is, I think, the most important. The one that people can impact the most is this content piece. So does that make sense?
Yeah, and this sounds like some nerd stuff.
Oh, it's total nerd stuff. I dig on it hard because it's total nerd stuff, but because the Google's getting smarter, there's becoming this. It's the nerd technical stuff is merging more with the content stuff. So it's a really exciting time for SEO stuff. I love it. I'm really digging on SEO stuff right now, actually. I don't know why. I mean, I love content, but I love nerd technical things too. And SEO was like the perfect blend of those things. So, okay. So that was our third stop, SEO. How you doing so far? We're 3 in. We're like halfway there, if I'm not mistaken.
We equate SEO to just like having a bunch of sign spinners on the corner, all pointing like on every street, pointing towards your shop?
Yes, for sure.
Cool.
It's a sign spinner. Absolutely.
In that case, I'm good.
You want better, more talented sign spinners. You know, you want more of them. You want them to be more talented. You want them to be able to do tricks. People be like, whoa, what's going on over there? That's great.
Cool.
You don't want the lazy high school kid who's eating a slice of pizza and just waving it haphazardly.
Using it as a crutch.
Listen, guy, that's not what we paid you for. All right. Get with the program. Okay. The fourth stop, social media and content strategy. Now, this is where most people start. They start 4 stops in. They haven't done any of the other work. They start here. And inevitably, they stall. Because they don't know who they are, going all the way back to brand. So if you don't know who you are, how do you know what you want to say? How do you know who you're saying it to? How do you know how you want to convey that through graphics and content and things like that? You don't know any of that. So it becomes you're doing social media as a tactic, not as a strategy. It's just, it's something to do, but it's not part of this overall thoughtful, meaningful, impactful strategy. Now, I equate social media and content to, you'll like this one, Chris, because if you like food, this is like your campfire with a pot on top, or it could even have a rotisserie chicken. How about that? Ooh. So this is about ringing the dinner bell. This is about constantly and consistently reminding your prospective customers, your customers, people who like your brand, people who follow you, reminding them about what you do, how you do it, the value you add to their life, the value you add to the struggles they're having, which again goes all the way back to the first thing, branding, understanding what their challenges are, what their problems are, right? And this is content too. So how do you do that? You can do that through photo, video, graphics, email marketing, white papers, blogging, right? This is where most people start. And that's, I think, a big part of why people kind of just fizzle out.
Jumping in too soon.
And here is the good and bad, right, of social. It is very accessible. That's great. Anyone can go in and create a page. But that's also kind of, I think, the dangerous proposition, because you can do it so easily. The barrier to entry isn't there. You know, even if like Facebook were to ask you, like 6 questions about your brand, they would never do this. And I don't know, and I don't see any reason why they would, but just stick with me here. If they were to ask you 6 questions about your brand, maybe at least then you would do a ever so slight thinking about that before. But they don't ask you that. They don't give a crap about it. Right? Right. Okay. So I only have one more, actually. Did I miss one? Oh, that sounds right. 5. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Look at me. I'm doing it. You're doing it, Peter. That was an impression. Did you like that?
I did.
That was from Hook. That was an impression from Hook.
You sounded like a 8-year-old girl.
Wow. Well, I think that it was an 8-year-old boy. And at that age, it's kind of like the same. So I'm going to take that as a dead-on impression, and that was a compliment.
Nailed it.
Perfect. Okay. The last thing. Last stop. Okay. Digital ads and remarketing. Most people start at social media and then ads. And I'm telling you, like, that is it can be a treacherous thing, because it's one thing to be doing social media without the compass. But if you're getting into doing ads without knowing and having talked about and having discussed and having set upon who your customers are, what they want, what their challenges are, what their problems are, what your company is, what your voice is, your ads are probably going to fall flat. And then you're spending money. I had a client one time, they asked me, what do you think? Actually, they weren't even a client at this point. It was during the consultation period. They go, what do you think about spending $500 of advertising on some website? And I said, well, honestly, I don't know what that website is. I didn't. But I said, spending any amount of money in advertising without like setting goals and understanding who you're talking to and understanding the audience and expectations is that you're wasting money. And so that's what you get into here. This is ads and remarketing. So for this, I kind of, I think it's metaphor is the proper thing. I liken this to like a flashlight. You identify a specific audience and you want to shine the light on them and bring attention to them and talk to them specifically. You want to target them with content, target them with messaging. And this is with Google ads, Facebook and Instagram ads, Twitter ads, and coming soon to a screen near you, Amazon ads.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one's going to be... we'll
have to tackle that one in a future episode.
I constantly struggle with the being a marketer and also being a consumer. And I guess thirdly, being a good person. Sometimes those things don't intersect so nicely.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, of all those companies, so Google makes not assumptions, but Google serves up ads based on queries, right? So they know you're actively searching for something for the most part. They do have a display, but for the most part, you search for something and it gives you results. Facebook and Instagram, on the other hand, for the most part, are serving up things based on interest, right? So it's making assumptions, or it's using the tons of data to put ads in front of you that they believe you would be interested in. Twitter ads, somewhere in that neighborhood, I guess, too, in interests wise. Amazon, of all those companies, it knows the most what you spend every month, what you spend money on every month, when you spend money every month, where the things get delivered. I mean,
what you want to spend money on but haven't yet.
Yeah, your wish list, what you want to spend money on. I mean, I hate to use that big D word. Disruptive. Insert sound effect here. But it could be very interesting to see how it impacts the rest of the players there. So, that was it.
That was great.
That was it. So, let me do a quick recap. First, branding. Second, website. Third, search engine optimization. That's not how it's pronounced. I did that for comedic purposes. The word is optimization, Chris. All right. So get it straight.
Sorry.
Next, social media and content. And lastly, digital ads and remarketing. And if you do them in that order, it's like it's like compounding interest. Each one will be better. It will be better. They will be smarter. You will be getting, my old boss used to say, you get the most juice for the squeeze. You're getting the juice for that squeeze. How about that?
When life hands you lemons, make
the
lemonade. But if you're gonna make lemonade,
get
the most juice for that squeeze.
Exactly. That wasn't what he said, but that could be what you say now.
Right, Michael Scott.
Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott, Michael G. Scott. That's correct. Michael Gary Scott. So, helpful, Chris?
Questions? Yeah, helpful. I mean, no, I do find it interesting that, it makes sense that people would jump straight into social media. Like you said, I mean, it seems the most accessible, the easiest one. Most people are already on it for personal reasons. So naturally you would think like, oh, well, we'll just get a Facebook page up.
Yeah.
And yeah, SEO is something that I would imagine anyone new to business and marketing would not even consider, let alone put it so early in the list and not just be like, well, now that we have all these things in place, let's start thinking about how to get people there. It's like, well,
no, it's really interesting.
Lay down those tracks first before you start sending the train down.
Honestly, like I've really taken a relatively new approach in the past 6 months to SEO and how we implement it and use it with our clients. I find myself bringing it back into that center and into a essential kind of service to start or to reset, right? If you did these things out of order, it's okay, right? It's of course like you may not know, and that's totally okay. You can. It's rare that it's so far gone that you can't kind of go back and reset, do like a soft reset. We're not talking about pull the plug, delete the page, delete your social pages, delete your website. It is almost never the case that you have to like clear the forest completely. It's always kind of about some incremental things, right? These things typically don't happen overnight. So they're typically not fixed overnight.
Would you argue that it might even be smart to do this even if it's successful? Just every now and then sort of do a little checklist here, like getting a car inspected. Could you just sort of reassess like where are we at with our branding and everything, sort of go down the checklist and just make sure you're doing it all right?
I think so. I mean, I think particularly with branding, and I know that's really challenging because it's like that base of the pyramid, but getting the people you work with or the people you work for, in that it's customers, or in our case, clients, and talking with them about your brand, and maybe getting even their opinion, talking to them about asking them these questions and asking people who work in your company these questions. And then you as a business leader asking and answering the questions. I think it can be really interesting. I mean, we did this exercise recently with Tricycle, and I asked all you guys for your feedback because I wanted to hear your thoughts and opinions, and your perspectives too. I mean, particularly when it came down to the immutable laws thing, where I wanted to, I'm keenly focused on, as I build and grow the company, on building and growing a company that's mindful of a particular culture. And so, I wanted to hear your guys' perspective on anything and everything, dealing with clients, how work is done, how we treat each other, how we treat the clients, our expectations for how clients treat us. I mean, that's a biggie, and I think that's one that's overlooked. And I think also having our clients understand how we work. I'm not. Listen, as an entrepreneur, I'm not the best at even sticking to my own rules, but it's helpful to still have them. I try to shut off everything at a certain time, and I want to try and extend that to the people who work with me and for me, to say, you guys got families, you have lives, Work is not the end all be all. I love doing it, but I mean, work should only be like the means to the end. And it's great if along that way you can enjoy it. But I wanted to set up rules and say, hey, guess what? Like, here's the deal. We don't work like this. This is how we work. We work from this time to this time. After that, tough. We have families. And if you don't like that, maybe we shouldn't work together. It's fine.
Do you think that can all these be handled by one person? I mean, if you're running you're just a one-man operation. I mean, is it doable? I mean, maybe with like SEO especially, or is that something you need to
it's
reach
interesting
out?
It's interesting you asked that, because I'm dealing with that kind of with a couple of my clients. They're small, and they want to do, whether because they want to be or because they have to be or because they're solopreneurs. And so I think that all these things can be done. All these things can be done by one person. But I think that oftentimes how well they are done, how often they are done, is about having someone who can help you along the way. And I think that's where obviously where Tricycle Creative, I'm really proud of the work that we're doing with that, is to say, and we can help. And this is what I'm doing with these clients, help create, okay, here are the things you should be doing even for a month or for a quarter. Because I think the reality is, there's only so much resource. There's only so much time. There's only so much money. There's only so much energy, right? So you could put all your energy, for instance, into SEO, right? And you'll get pretty good results. Or do you want to split the energy out evenly, right? And get a more balanced approach. And so these are the conversations that I have with these clients to understand where their head is at, and then based on the time I've spent with them, where my recommendations are, right? And oftentimes they're aligned, but sometimes they're not. And that's part of the process of being a consultant, is talking through and helping them understand, listen, if you're only going to spend 30 minutes on each one of these things, it might not be worth it. You might actually just want to then spend 2 hours doing this, right? And let's try it. Let's see how that works, right? I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these things are, obviously there's depth in each of them, how deep and how much understanding you want, or want to do. But I do believe they can all be done by one person, but I think it is extremely challenging. And I think that one person has to be very organized, very, I think, talented in a lot of ways, because a lot of this is technical and a lot of this is creative. And I think that they need to really understand and be setting or working with someone very closely to understand the goals of the organization.
So you're saying you could fix your own car, but should you?
Exactly. Could I fix my own car? Yes, of course. I could probably watch enough YouTube videos, go to the store, buy all the tools, spend the time out in my driveway, miss a couple days of work, make a couple mistakes. I'll go back to the store, get another. Could it be done? Of course. Like anything, it could be done. But sometimes it's best to okay, maybe I can just change my windshield wiper blades and he'll have someone else fix the engine.
Right.
So, and that is always, what it is. It's that is also tied to, and I think that you'd be familiar with this, the production triangle, and it's called different things, but it's a triangle, and you have fast, right, or cheap at each point, and you can pick two. That's the production triangle. So you can only pick two. And I think that's where a lot of businesses, they struggle with that, is, you can't have it all these ways. You do have to make choices.
And me, fast and cheap.
That is how you like it. That is, when anyone asks, that is, how does Chris like it? I say fast and cheap. Always. He's my fast and cheap guy. Loves it. So I hope this was helpful. Again, I call this Digital Marketing Roadmap. We have a whole list of other workshops that Tricycle Creative offers on our website, tricycle-creative.com. Please go there, take a look. What I have now is I have the complete list of all the workshops that we offer. And if I have an upcoming session scheduled, that will be in there. But if you are interested in any of those workshops, we are now also offering them, I guess what you could say is a la carte. So we can do one-on-one, we can do private, we can do group. There's a contact form on every single one of the workshops. If you're interested in any of them, you can contact us and we can schedule a specific day and time to either do it digitally so we can do a screen share, or we can come to your office or your workplace and go through the workshop with you. So I'm pretty excited about that. We've been doing a lot of workshops the past couple months. But this now is kind of an evolution of that, where they're semi on demand, in that we can set the day and time and work with you directly. I guess the next step would be to have them available as videos, but I'm still really enjoying the interaction that I have with people. This is such complicated stuff that I like having the back and forth with people who attend these workshops, versus just talking ahead.
Much like this show.
Much like this.
This is how I feel. Just a talking head.
Just a head full of talking. So next week we will be back. That will be show number 8. I anticipate we will be back with marketing, media, and miscellaneous, the ever popular, the most popular subject of the 3.
Oh, yeah.
Always brought to you by
My mailbox
Chris.
is always full.
Speaking of mailbox, send us a note. Say hi, say hello, say you suck, this show blows, whatever you want, at Hello Tricycle. We're on all of the social medias, so we would love to hear from you. So please drop us a note, give us a follow, and if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, rate this podcast, and share it. Share it with your friends. Sharing is caring. Chris, I've said it before. I don't know why people don't listen to that.
I don't know, because I'm a jerk, as we
Is
established.
it you?
Yeah, it's me.
It's your face. It's that talking face of yours that ruins it for everyone.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Ugh. Yuck. That's why we did an audio podcast. No. Oh, Chris, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Do you accept my apology?
I do.
Yes.
All is forgiven.
I meant it. No. Who knows what I meant? Okay, we'll be back next week. Thank you for listening, and keep peddling.
Thanks for listening to Tripod. For show notes and bonus content, go to tricycle-creative.com/tripod. Connect with Tricycle Creative on Facebook and Instagram at Hello Tricycle. Connect with Ross at Ross Hero. Connect with Chris on Instagram at Ruthless Chris Steakhouse.